is arguing about something. This is an argumentative paragraph. Remember, you have an argumentative paragraph. Okay. So I'm going to write here argument. Argument belongs to word argumentative. Right. Now, in this argumentative writing, you have to find out two things. Does the writer support the introduction of trolley buses and trams, or does he oppose it? Support, oppose. Read this and let me know. Okay, so anybody? What is it about? It's after all an argumentative paragraph. I've already told you the author could either be supporting or opposing the introduction of trams. म तिमीहरूलाई कोटाइ कोटाइ बस्दिनँ है. You're not kids anymore. घरिघरि कोटाइ कोटाइ त्यही कुरा सोधि बस्दिनँ. Please grow up. Grow up. च्याटमा अनेक थरी लेख्न सक्छ भनेदेखिलाई please grow up. I've already asked you a question. Now answer my question. If there's anybody.
Writer is in favor of tram system.
Writer is in favor of tram system.
Argument against the tram system.
No, argument is
Uh,
already an argumentary passage, you know? So I would like to know whether the writer is in favor or against the introduction of tram system. Panikulo.
writer is against
Against the tram system.
Against. Okay, so let's take a look.
against the tram system.
All right, so let's take a look. Yani Ruchi, as you read, we have to look at a collection of words and phrases. So not so long ago, trolley buses and trams were being condemned as rather outmoded forms of transport. Okay, so in the past, trams and trolley buses were being condemned. Look at this negative word as rather outmoded forms of transport. Condemned as rather outmoded forms of transport. So when you think about words, words can be positive or negative. Your negative word. Here's another negative word. Hey. Now let's go on further. Yet, now did you notice something? This is something opposite to the previous word. So pahla negative bhaya. Yet, now they are being hailed as the answer to the ills afflicting modern transport. So at the moment, the same trolley buses and trams, they're being hailed, they're being praised as the only solution to deal with the traffic problem. So words can either be neutral, positive, negative. So it starts with negative. Alright, trams are outmoded forms of transport. That at the moment, the writer says, the authorities, they say that this is the only answer. Now, next sentence. A vast swathe of land, swathe when I go vast area of area, from South London Tooting on the northern edge to Croydon is being linked by new transport. This is the area where the new tram system is going to be implemented. All right? You buy a new area. So this is just information. The third sentence, the important thing. Now check the fourth sentence. Motorists do not like it. They are not liking the idea of the tram system being introduced. Negative. Why? Here's the answer. Why they don't like it? The answer is right here. Because the roads are in the process of being churned up. It's going to be dug up in the preparation for the trams. So first reason, the roads are going to be dug. It's going to be dirty. Second, when the trams are finally up and running, private car owners say the system will lead to more one-way systems, further hindering negative. So once the trams are there, there'll be more one-way systems, one-way street, further hindering, further blocking freedom of movement and increasing the congestion. And there'll be further congestion. It'll be much more congested that they were designed to overcome. So these are the reasons why the motorists, they're not going to like it. All right? These points, now the writer says these points certainly present a strong argument against the tram system. Negative. So these points refer to the objections of the motorist. Why the motorists are not going to like it. Okay? First, the roads are going to be dug up. Later on, there's going to be more one-way roads, and it's going to be much more difficult to travel. And thirdly, at the end, it leads to further congestion. So motorists, they do not like it. Our last one on this, the last sentence, check this. Now, there's another opposite sentence. Nonetheless, this sentence very similar to yet. Nonetheless, provided that the system is as efficient and as cheap to use as planned, positive, efficient, cheap, positive. So provided the system is as efficient and cheap to use as planned, many people feel that the service will be a resounding success. Not just a success, but a resounding success. So read this again. Pravin said it's the author is in favor of introduction of trams. Okay, some of the girls said the author is against. I want you to reread it again. But when you reread it, go through it quickly. Repeat it several times. Okay, so once again, Praveen, तिम्रो answer के छ? The author supports, you said support. Would you like to keep that answer? कि change गर्ने?
Yes, sir. यहाँनिर के अरे मोटरिस्ट र उसको कार ड्राइभरहरूको पोइन्टहरू चाहिँ उयो छ भनेको छ नि त, स्ट्रङ छ भनेको छ, तर ननलेसमा उसले आफ्नो थपेको छ नि त.
Exactly. So, you still think the author supports. All right. Vijay, what about you?
So यो ट्राम
No, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Mere question: or does the author support or oppose the introduction to trams?
oppose.
What about you, Trishla?
Sir, I think writer is in support of the trolley buses and trams.
Okay. The author supports. Jangmu? How about you?
I feel like the writer supports the
The writer
tram
supports?
system.
Okay. Furba, how about you? Furba? Yuvraj?
Oh, sorry, sir. Support in
The author supports.
the author support.
Okay. Yuvraj? अनि एन्डमा गएर के छ? एन्डमा गएर सपोर्ट कि अपोज? Okay, so in your case, Yuvraj, the author does not support or oppose, it's balanced. Okay, take as आफ्नो opinion, no? How about you, Bibitsa?
Support. The author supports.
Okay, author supports. Sharmila? Sharmila, support कि oppose हो? You go to
I don't know.
Sorry? Sharmila? Sharmila, के भयो sound? You go to unmute yourself. Just hit the unmute button. Corner मा हुन्छ तल्लोपट्टि. Sharmila, so does the author support or oppose?
सर मैले राम्रोसँग पढ्नै पाएको छैन यहाँ वाइफाई क्र्यास भएर
किन? किन पढ्नु पाएको छैन शर्मिला?
वाइफाई क्र्यास भएर सर सुरुदेखि नै अघिदेखि नै कनेक्टिङ मात्र भएर थियो अनि
All right. Okay. ठिक छ. Now, यहाँ चाहिँ authorले के भन्दैछ भने initially trolley buses and trams they were condemned as outmoded forms. Okay, it's old fashioned भनेर. तर now, yet, so look at contradictory words. There's a contrasting words. यहाँनिर yet छ, at the bottom you've got nonetheless. Okay, so these are all contradictory words. So if you want to write something opposite to the previous thing, you say but, however, yet, nonetheless, in spite of, despite the fact, though, although, even though, and so on. So here the author says now at the moment they're being praised as the only thing that could solve the traffic problem. And then the author mentions which area of London. All right, you're going to have the tram system. And then the author talks about the motorists and how the motorist will not like, how the motorist will object to the introduction of trams. Why? First reason, the road is going to be dug up, creates a lot of mess. Second, there's going to be more one-way roads, creating further hindrance or blockage in travel time. And finally, it will lead to further congestion. So these are three reasons why motorists wouldn't like it. So author is quoting the motorists. But then the author says, nonetheless, despite all of these drawbacks, despite all of the doubts, okay, that motorists have come up with, if the system is very efficient and cheap, many of the people feel that it's going to be not just a success, but a runaway success, a huge success. It's going to be a resounding success. So check the word before success. Okay, that's a very positive. Kukur Levin, it agrees with me. All right, so there's a dog barking, it agrees with me. So at the end, okay, Yuvraj, at the end, what you find is, though it's kind of balanced, but the author is more in favor of the introduction of trams. But while writing about how, trams should be introduced, the author also takes into consideration some opposite views. You might essay in essay writing, when you discuss both the views or when you give your own opinion, think about essay writing. When you discuss both the views or when you give your own opinion, what do you do at the end? You take both the views, start with the opposite view, and refute the opposite view. So a lot of things overlap. Timoko reading, listening, writing, they all overlap. So this is how I've taught you how to write an essay. Here's another one. Now, I want everybody to turn on the video because I have to discuss something. Bibitsam aunday jaday ke hunदैछ video calling connection ko problem Bibitsa?
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay. Yuvraj, खै तिम्रो एलियन जस्तो भिडियो आएकै छैन छिटो. Oh, right. बादलको बीचमा हात मात्रै पक्रिनु. Now, what I'm going to discuss here, अहिलेसम्म मैले भनेको थिइनँ, read गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ there are few things you have got to keep in mind. है, IELTS-मा how much time do you have? कतिवटा questions हुन्छ per passage? Per passage कतिवटा question Bibitsa? Let me ask you questions. Chalo.
13, 13, 14.
13 or 14. I know first passage 13, second passage 13, last passage 14.
14.
So either 13 or 14 questions. How much time do you get to read and answer each passage?
20 minutes.
Each passage, anybody?
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
20 minutes, you answer 13 or 14 questions. So if you set aside 15 minutes to answer 13 or 14 questions, that leaves you with only 5 minutes to read. Only 5 minutes. The IELTS challenge, you have to read and understand in 5 minutes. All right. So you can't go slow. You can't go slow. All right. So how do you read? In this case, 5 minutes, if you have been reading, if you read like the way you've been reading, just plus 2 preparation like textbook or reporting, you would simply not get the time to complete it. So how do you read? You've got to read fast. And how are you going to read? Let's say if there is a passage of 3 or 5 paragraphs, you read each individual paragraph. And when you read each individual paragraph, you try to find the main idea and the organization of each paragraph. We're just trying to find the main idea and organization. As for the minor details, questions, don't worry about it. You're already good. You're good. So there will be no problem. Majority problem remains looking at the main idea. Just you charving some main idea focus. All right. So how are you going to read in 5 minutes is to focus on the main idea of each paragraph. Okay, so you read uh, each paragraph को main idea, and RTS मा I would want you to take the paper based RTS and question paper मा त्यहाँ side मा लेख्ने यसको main idea यो हो, paragraph 2 को main idea यो हो, 3 को यो, 4 को यो, 5 को यो, let's say 5 वटा paragraph त्यो सबलाई connect गरेपछि you'll be able to understand the passage easily. And once you understand the passage, it's easy to answer the question. So that's the strategy. Now, regarding reading each paragraph, we're just reading individual paragraph. Rule number 1, we've got to read fast. Is to zip your lips. Means, when you read, I see a lot of you are moving your lips. Janmo, hey, agadi gara. I mean, a lot of you are doing that. So why do we move our lips? Not just Janmo, a lot of you are doing that. We move our lips when we want to concentrate. So when we want to concentrate, we move our lips. If you look at kids, when kids want to concentrate on drawing, they'll bite the lips. You might have noticed kids they're drawing something. And it helps them to concentrate. It does. And when you move your lips, it helps you to concentrate. But the problem is, when you move your lips, you're reading every word. Okay? And when you move your lips, you can only read as fast as you can speak. Your reading speed will hit a ceiling. Never. You can only read as fast as you can speak. So the reading speed hits a ceiling, it never goes above it. So what we do, we don't move our lips. It's got to be mental. All right. So rule number 1 of reading from now on, zip your lips. Never move it. Rule number 2, when you read something, don't try to read and understand everything in one slow reading. अब अहिलेसम्म हामी त्यही नै गरिरहेको छु, अहिलेसम्म तिमीहरू सबले त्यही नै गरिरहेछ. All right? You're trying to read and understand everything in one slow reading. There's no time. So what I want you to do is, I want you to go through each paragraph quickly. Quick, Jane. All right? If you don't understand a word, don't repeat it. If you don't understand a sentence, never ever repeat it. Quickly, you say, I didn't get it. Now repeat it the second time. You say, oh, I got something. Repeat third time, you got something. So rather than trying to understand everything in one reading, okay, repeat it several times. So always remember these 2 rules from now on. Yeah, online class mamata enough. Now from now on, when you're reading anything, please do that. All right? Whether it's RTS material, whether it's your textbook, whether you're reading online, whether you're reading a love letter. Oh, love letter, the easy as I like that. All right, maybe you'll get text. Maybe you like to read every word of the text. Okay, love letter. No, you got to go fast. So, let's try that. Now, let's look at this again. It looks kind of similar. What I'm trying to say is, suppose, let's say candidate A, एकजनाले suppose फुटबलले चाहिँ यो एक मिनेटमा बिस्तारै पढेर सबै बुझ्ने कोसिस गरे. अलराइट. अब सँगैमा विजयले चाहिँ 1 मिनेटमा he says, I don't want to understand everything. I'll read quickly. I'll repeat it several times. अब कसको स्ट्र्याटेजी राम्रो हुन्छ? विजयको हुन्छ. राइट. अब हामीले अहिलेसम्म के गरिरहेछ? स्लोली पढेर सबै कुरो बुझ्ने कोसिस गर्छ. That's not the right thing. So I want you to go fast. Let's say, give yourself 1 minute. I want you to go fast. Repeat it several times. All right. You don't have to understand everything. And that's how you get to the main idea. Okay, so get started. Here again, it's an argumentative passage. Very similar to what you read earlier. But the thing is it the same? Is it the same passage? Oh no. Let's forget this. Okay, anybody? It's very similar to what you read earlier, but not exactly the same. So argumentative. And once again, I'm going to ask you the same question. Does the author support or oppose the introduction of tram systems?
Oppose. Oppose.
Mm,
Yes, Bibitsa, ke bhannu laga thiye?
The
Support.
Sorry?
mm,
Support, oppose,
Support.
support. Okay. First one, हाम्रो earlier case मा चाहिँ support. हैन?
um,
फुटबल फुटबल support के oppose होला?
Support नै
Support हो? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Jango, Yuvraj, Trishla, Praveen.
Oppose, sir.
oppose, sir. The writer oppose.
So the writer oppose गर्छ the first sentence बाट.
Okay, first sentence here. Trolleybuses and trams, rather outmoded, okay, out-fashioned, out of use. Forms of transport are mistakenly, check this, all negative words. Negative, okay, I'm just drawing the symbol of negative. Mistakenly being hailed as the answer to the ills affecting modern transport. So the author says, well, people think that we should bring back trolleybuses and trams, but then these people are mistaken because these are all old-fashioned ways. So probably it's not going to work. And then the second sentence is the same as the first paragraph that we read, the area where it's going to be implemented. And then the third sentence starts with motorists obviously do not like it. They don't like the introduction of trolleybuses. Why? Because number one, the roads are going to be ripped up in the process, negative. In preparation for the tram lines being laid. Number two, when the trams are finally up and running, most people will be against the idea. Against the idea. Why? Because the system will lead to more one-way systems, thus hindering, thus blocking their freedom of movement, and most certainly increasing the congestion. So these few sentences are very similar to what we read earlier paragraph. And last one, the author adds, then, it's more like additionally. Previous paragraph matter nonetheless, if you notice. All right, so your paragraph will balance correct, but here it's similar. Then when the problem starts arising, okay, they means the authorities will have to start dismantling the whole network, dismantling to get rid of it, okay, to rip it apart, to break it again, at great inconvenience to the whole modern public. So what you find here is the author clearly says that trolleybuses and trams are rather old-fashioned, and these are all the objections from the motorist, all of it. So when we see, unlike the previous paragraph, here the last sentence, balance. So all of it, these are all negative things. So all in all, we come to the conclusion that the author thinks, or the author objects or does not support the establishment of trolleybuses. So you're against. You're by for. This is in support. Your sentence lay balance kore previous sentence lie. Your sentence lay previous sentence lay balance kore. So look at how transition of words, linking words is so very important. All right. So look at the variations. Now, I think we still have time. Okay. Now, if you remember, I've already told you that one of the most challenging questions in the IELTS is called list of headings. तिमीले पहिलो question लेख्दै check your copy. When you wrote about the different questions, I told you to underline 3 different kinds of questions. Yes, no, not given, true, false, not given, अनि list of headings. अब list of headings मा चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने, let's say यो एउटा paragraph भयो from the passage. Okay, 5 वटा paragraph मा चाहिँ यो एउटा भयो. Read it, and from a given list, you have to choose the best title. Which heading is the best one? Okay, so that's called a list of heading questions. Hang on there, just a moment. Okay, so let's try the list of heading questions. So what I want you to do is go through this paragraph, okay, understand it. So basically, I will display another paragraph. Hang on there. You have a paragraph, well, okay, exercise 8. Understand it. And after a list of headings, before we look at it, after then I'll display exercise 9, list of heading. It's very similar, but not exactly the same. Exercises too. And then from a list of headings, choose which is the best title fit. Right? So let's get started. 8. Rule number 1, always remember, zip your lips. Rule number
Excuse
2,
me, sir.
do
Sorry.
not try to understand everything. Yes?
So, 8 and 9 ko लागि we need to give एउटा heading.
होइन एउटा हेडिङ होइन 8 को छुट्टै हुन्छ 9 को छुट्टै हुन्छ है
ए,
र म
okay.
8 र 9 दुईटा डिस्प्ले गर्छु पहिला 8 पढ एउटा आफ्नो एउटा रफमा लेख हेडिङ 9 पढेर आफ्नो लेख देन लिस्ट अफ हेडिङ्सबाट हामी सिलेक्ट गर्ने सेपरेट हुन्छ हेडिङ सरी र लिस्ट अफ हेडिङ्स हेर्नु अगाडि यसलाई let's try to deconstruct the sentence, eh? Let's deconstruct the sentence. Deconstruct भनेको let's break it up into its components, different parts. Okay? You're breaking it up into different components or parts. It's like, you know, you say about Chinese reverse engineering. The Chinese have built everything, and US accuse they've stolen ideas. They've stolen ideas. Yeah, they buy a fighter jet from Russia. Okay, Russia go, let's say MiG-29, Su-30, किनेर ल्यायो, break it apart, and it reverse engineer गर्यो, and आफ्नो build गर्यो, हैन त्यो पाराले. So let's break it apart. That's called reverse engineering. Let's break it apart here. Sentence line. Now, first thing is, there are actually two topic sentences, not just one. There are two topic sentences. So first thing is, I want you to identify the two topic sentences. कुन चाहिँ होला? दुईटा topic sentence.
First sentence.
Okay, first sentence. That's good, Trishla.
The pace of change today.
The pace of change.
Ani?
Today is much replaced by computer.
Thousands of workers and factories has been replaced by computer and robots.
No, not thousands of workers, Timilena.
The pace of change today is much faster.
Pace of change today is much faster and thereby more unsettling. You were हाम्रो topic sentence. दुईटा छ. Now let's look at the first one. Change causes problems. How does it cause problem? Second sentence, if you look at it, a very good example. Example are supporting details. They're minor points. Examples always support the main point, isn't it? So you sub example, hey, a good example is the introduction of technology in the workplace. The Luddite in all of us comes out in the 19th century. The Luddites. So you sub example. So Luddite Luddites are people who are scared of technology, who are scared of changes. It's a term used, okay, Luddite. So there's a Luddite in all of us, especially old people. They're scared of technology. So what you find is that words but all of these words actually support just one sentence. And that sentence is change causes problems. So these are all examples. And then the second sentence is the pace of change today is much faster and thereby more unsettling, more disturbing, more unnerving. It's faster. Now, these are all examples again. And all of these examples, they support how the pace of change it's getting more disturbing. So remember, these are all oh my goodness, these are all examples. All right, so that's how it goes. So when I say the main sentence, change causes problems, the pace of change today is much faster, thereby more unsettling. Now with this, we go to the list of headings. Try right? So because we're running out of time, list of headings, try to choose the best title.
हामीले यसबाट चुज गर्नुपर्ने.
Yes, यो यतिबाट चाहिँ एउटा चुज गर्नुपर्ने. कुन चाहिँ हेडिङ चाहिँ बेस्ट हुन्छ, कुन चाहिँ त्यो तिमीहरूले पढेको थियौ नि अहिले प्याराग्राफ त्योसँग चाहिँ मिल्छ. means?
सी
सी होला
अब यहाँनिर धेरै कुरो छ है. You will not choose a heading just because you find the words mentioned. जस्तै यहाँनिर 19th century revolt. Alright, you'll not choose just because the word is mentioned. Machine versus factory workers भन्ने पनि छ. Those are only examples. त्यसपछि attacking the Luddites, the word Luddite is there, but that was minor point. These are all minor points. You see? So the best answer here is yes. What's the answer?
सी
The answer is
Settling effect of change. A lot of times, list of headings ma, people choose answers like G or H or D or A just because the words are mentioned. Alright, let's check the words. So these words are mentioned. So your words are khali examples. So in the list of headings, examples. So even Costco pet dog, the dog agrees with me. So I'm sure you all are in agreement with me. So use up examples. Right. So just because the words are mentioned, pick good then answer. You have to look at the entire list of headings. So this is called list of headings. And in list of headings, what exactly is being asked in list of headings here is you read a paragraph and based on what you've read, the paragraph, you choose the best title. So this is one of the most challenging questions in ALT's reading comprehension. All right. All of the details you need, the finer detail. All the details, I'm sure you can manage it. The normally students are lagaro lagne se, your list of headings. So what I want you to do is, for those who have already received the material, all right, book 1 to 9, sir, ani Jangmu, Furpa, Sharmila. Okay, I'll be sending you 1 to 9 banera. Just go through those material. Then list of heading questions. Just try that. List of headings. You can try it on your own. Just the list of headings ko lagi chahi. I might have noted it somewhere. List of headings. Which book is this? No, I'm not sure. Order questions are good. So slowly we are moving into questions. The Jailabani, I've told you rule number 1. When you read, zip your lips. Rule number 2, don't try to understand everything. You want to go fast, repeat the same paragraph several times. Right, so we'll end it here today. Okay?